Welcome to another episode of RoD. Back for his third appearance on the show. I think he's one of our most regular attendees. We have for you the head coach of 10th Planet, the irrepressible, the very energetic, the number one guy, Frank Barca. Thanks for joining us, Frank.
God, what an intro. Woo!
Yeah, she's pretty good, actually. That's why she doesn't let me do them anymore,
I
brother.
don't allow Anton. Anton's only done about 10 in the whole 190 that we've done.
That's right.
Because
Hey, it's great to be back.
Oh,
I
man.
love my roll or die sticker. I love it. It's always on my visor. I'm always opening and closing my visor, and it reminds me. I love it. I love it.
Ah,
we're looking at rashies now, Frank.
yeah.
Sorry?
That's next. We're going to do rashies, rash
Yeah.
guards.
Oh, small, please.
Yeah.
Small for me.
Done, brother.
Yeah, Anton, we've got to get
Done.
these out.
All right, all right.
Out
Kim's
before
on my
Christmas.
case, and Alex is Alex over at Eagle. He's going to do the artwork and have it. So it's built by the community for the community. Yeah. So here
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yeah, awesome, man. So how's things, man?
Love
Everywhere we go, right? Everywhere I go nowadays, there you are with cameras in your face and you're commentating something. So, like, what's life like for you at the moment, man?
Well, I've got to be honest. I'm living by the seat of my pants, as they say, or if that saying goes. And honestly, Anton, to be honest with you, it's so exciting what's going on in the combat world right now in Victoria. I mean, although on one side of the page, Victoria took such a beating over what's been going on in the last few years, but on the other side, there's this incredible shining light. Like, honest to God, it was the light at the end of my tunnel. My business was just ground to dust. All of ours were, especially being an entrepreneur. I mean, geez, in that climate, it was just we went from being so not idolized, but looked up to, like, people that had been in businesses for like 10, 12, 15 plus years successfully were looked upon as like, man, self-made, man, women, amazing, but look what the pandemic did. It actually was the worst thing to be involved with in a situation like that, when government overreach is just, fever pitch, so. And then there was this commentary gig that just kept my business heart beating,
Awesome.
And I'm not kidding. I'm getting to the point. The point is, it's an easy answer. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. Yeah, but it's more than that to me. And where things are now for me, I'm doing Fusion Fighting Championship. We're already at Volume 4. Incredible launch of CJJ in this country. Victoria is just the pinnacle of combat sports in the country. That's the point I'm getting to. On one side, it was such a devastating thing, but on the other side, there's this shining light.
Yeah.
And Fusion has been just remarkable, going from highlighting combat jiu-jitsu for the very first time. And, jits with hits. I mean, I'm a huge advocate. I came across the jiu-jitsu as a very practical, functional karateka, lots of Muay Thai, lots of American kickboxing, lots of, wrestling, lots of judo, all that stuff, all that 30-man kumite, striking was my thing. But jiu-jitsu just tied me up in knots. I just couldn't do shit. So I'm thinking, man, wouldn't it be great one day if we could get back to those roots of what Hoist Gracie showed was so amazing to us back in 93 with jiu-jitsu, with striking, and just necessary striking when things get a little, and they're hanging on, and then just adding those palm strikes just to open up the rib shots or the kidney shots. I mean, I love it. I love it. And to see that finally being launched, I've been so blessed and been able to open the cage officially in Victoria and Western Australia, and now CJJ as well. So many amazing firsts. Fusion is at the forefront of that whole campaign, and my dream is to have a full combat jiu-jitsu card that I can commentate on with, overtimes, just that's another thing altogether, I guess. Overtimes, we can talk about that too. But Fusion is one of those things, Path to HEX. Let's talk about Path to HEX really quick, Anton.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go for it, man.
To steal the conversation, but you asked me, you see me around a little bit. Well, I'm laying it all out for you,
It's awesome, man. Keep going. Keep going.
So Kim, get your questions ready, all right? I'm going to breathe eventually. So, and by the way, Kim, it's great to see those family photos again. I look forward to those annual family photos of seeing the growth of your family. It's awesome. Anyway, side note, but look, let's look at Path to HEX. By the way, and with Fusion Fighting Championship, we're seeing people say, hey, who wants to step up and be part of Fusion. So, you know, Mateo is just saying, hey, put your nominations in, who you want, if you want to be on the card, and we'll look at your card, we'll look at your history, we'll see what competition life is like for you. Let's see how much you're trained. Let's see how much of a semi-professional you are. Let's put you on a stage under the lights, on a big show, paying customers, sponsorship, the whole thing. And people are stepping up in droves. So we're seeing the competition scene in jiu-jitsu on one side of the fence, like the grappling industries, you know, the state champs, Pan Pacific champs, all those amazing Savage, it goes on and on, all those great tournaments where, you know, hobbyists want to go out there and do jiu-jitsu on the weekend. Brilliant. But now we're saying, hey, listen, I know you guys love that stuff, and there's you guys always showing up in the finals. Let's put you guys on a massive stage. Let's give you one round, 8 minutes. And if you want, you can choose if you want to put the putazos, you know, the palm strikes in if you want. But you don't have to. And we're really getting to these super fight matches that are becoming, you know, we're having 15 card super fight matches, and we've got some of the cream of the crop in Australian jiu-jitsu scene. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Anton, didn't I bump into you at Fusion?
Yeah, man. It was awesome, man. I had the best night, man. Watching just fight after fight, epic people I know, people from like around the scene, but they were in the spotlight. They had proper commentary. They had lights on them. They had entries. They had walkout music, and everybody stepped into that. It was like it was like, I mean, some of them are already doing some of this, right? But others had just like, there was a couple of like 8-year-old kids in there. That was the first fight. That was the most moving thing I've ever seen. Both kids ended up in tears at the end, but they went for it like you wouldn't believe. And I was like, we were all so entertained, and they were their heart and soul was in that match. And they weren't in tears because they were so sad. They were like just so full of emotion. It was amazing to watch, man. Blew my mind.
Yeah, that Carter Thomas match, I'll have to tell you, you know, when he won, he told me at the weigh-ins, it's so funny. I talk about Carter Thomas and his opposition as well. I mean, they did so well, but Carter won that fight, and I spoke to him at the weigh-ins the night before, to this 9-year-old with this mullet, this little cheeky little, I just wanted to back him. That's how cute he was, adorable, right? Yeah. And I'm talking to him, you know, I'm going, so what do you reckon you're going to do? You reckon you missed the big shot? Yeah, you're going to go on a stage and there's music and there's people paying. What are you going to do? He goes, I'm going to go for my armbar. I go, are you going to go for an armbar? Yeah? I'm looking at him, right? And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, you're going to go for an armbar, right? Oh, let's see. Well, guess what he did?
That was amazing.
Yeah, armbar, he won. And I tell you, he jumps up out of that. You were there, Anton. But for the folks that weren't there, just to paint the picture, he jumps up. He's in front of 400 or 500 people. He jumps up, crying with such emotion, like you mentioned, and his opponent, his poor opponent, is bawling his eyes out in defeat. And I just ran up there. I just couldn't get in there fast enough. My fatherly instincts just kicked in like Bruce Lee sidekick mode, right?
Yeah.
And I just jumped in and I just said to him, I said, "You come here." I'm sorry, I can't remember his opponent's name. I should be embarrassed, but
it's fine. Don't worry, man. You don't need to be embarrassed. It's totally fine. But the other kid, he was a good kid. He was a great kid. A dominance kid, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, hey, come here. You're not going nowhere. Because, you know, usually the person that loses straight away exits the cage. I said, nah, come here. So I grab him and I interview him and I say, hey, listen. I go, you just did an amazing thing in front of all these people paying money. And you're like 11 years old. And I know you're so disappointed. But we're not. We're so proud of you. You're a little star. And I want you to remember how well you did. And just remember that today, that you put in such a great effort. And everyone went mad. They went mental, Anton. You went mental too. Right? Everyone's cheering. That was the opener. Yeah. And then I interviewed Carter Thomas. I'm like, Carter, yesterday at the weigh-ins, I'm talking to him like he's a professional. You at the weigh-ins, you said to me you wanted to armbar. He goes, yeah, I did. And you went out there and you armbar. He goes, yeah, I got it. And I'm like I'm freaking out inside. Like you might think I got it together. I ain't got nothing together, bro. Nothing, right?
I love it. Frank, do you think that there's opportunity for hobbyists to become semi-professional now in Australian Jiu-Jitsu?
Without a doubt. And you know the wonderful thing, Kim, that this is going to do too, is going to put that belief back in people that, hang on a second, yeah, I can have a desk job, I can be a groundsman, I can do this and that, I can do whatever. And then you know what? I can train because I'm training anyway. And everyone trains like professionals anyway. I mean, who's not training like professionals in this state? Or, I mean, I can only tell from the dojos that I'm frequently training in all week long, all year long, decades at a time. And we're all training like pros. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all train like professionals. Look at us. Do we look like people that don't train hard to you? Are you kidding me? Like, we're all in shape. We're all lean, mean, fighting machines. We're intelligent. We're strategic and tactical. We eat right. We sleep right. We rest right. We recover right. We're training like professionals, Kim. And we're just hobbyists. You know, we're just trying, you know, I'm lucky enough to be able to do this for a living, but there's a lot of people doing it for a living, you know, so not just me. So, yes, I have to say for sure it's really opening a nice little path that we don't have to go full on into the MMA. We can get a taste for it if you want it to be a stepping off point. The CJJ is exactly that. You know, we have jiu-jitsu with strikes. Let's test your clinching. And that's going to really start to separate. I'm not divide, but separate the different types of jiu-jitsu that they're out there. Because there's point-style jiu-jitsu, which is about position and all that stuff, and that's all important. But when striking is involved, those open style games and those styles that are those leg lock styles where, you know, you're really taking risks going to those kind of games with when striking is involved, it's going to really add another category of jiu-jitsu that I think is going to attract a different sort of fan as well. A different kind of fan. The MMA fan can now get a bit of a door opener and a bit of an insight into the power of jiu-jitsu to understand it better. So that when we see the MMA side of things and it goes to the ground and the clinches and the wrestling up against the fences and the strikes, they're going to realize, oh, wait a second. This is an important moment in this fight right now that I didn't understand before. So my job with the commentary, I'm trying to tie it all together. My job with the commentary as a professional martial artist myself, and, you know, I'm teaching every night and training around, you know, around the world with the best guys in the world, AET, pro days every single Thursday, training with the cream of MMA in Australia, UFC fighters, national champions, world jiu-jitsu champions, state Pan Pacific champions every Thursday. It's right. The level is just insane. So now we're starting to get this synergy starting to happen, and it's bubbling now, Anton. I'm super excited, man. So that's fusion. Then there's Path to Hex. I mean, amateur MMA. I mean, I want to slap myself in the face. I can't even think about Path to Hex and use the words amateur at all. The teams, Anton, I mean, like, I'm backstage. Kim, I'm backstage every single show. You know how many shows I've done? Dude, I'm doing Fusion, Path to Hex, Sarman, and the pinnacle of all shows in Australia, Hex Fight Series, at 28 shows. I've done every single show from day one. From day one. Am I yelling? Sorry.
No, it's great, man. I love your energy, man. I want you here right now. I want you over here with me, man. You pretty much are.
Get the hell out of my house.
Headphones. I was going to, but I decided against it for you.
Keep yelling, bro, in the best possible way. You don't dare stop. Don't you dare drop a single notch of energy, man. Keep it at 100% all the way through, man.
All right. So the beautiful thing about being involved with every single highest level fight teams, and we're talking jiu-jitsu, we're talking MMA, and these amateur semi-pros.
Yeah.
And Kim, I noticed you said semi-professional. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
These semi are training with the elite. They're training with the best teams. It's unbelievable. And when they come down to Victoria, because we get them from over the East Coast, top to bottom, all of Joey Lopez's boys, all of them, all these guys coming through that are feeding the Hex machine, and also the semi-professional scene as well. These guys train like pros, think like pros, act like pros, 3 times a day like pros. Man, and I'm telling you, I've called so many of these amateur cards, and I could easily have ripped off those leg pads and put 4 ounces on these boys and girls, and we would have seen some of the most electrifying fights. Man, it's unbelievable. Path to Hex, Tina Patani and the crew out there. Matteo, also the owner of Fusion, is also promoting for Path to Hex and doing a hell of a job. And I'm working very closely with all of them at the promotional side and the backstage side of things, like the team side and the fight side. Let me tell you, everybody is in, all in. Anton, all in. Kim, all in. You look at Absolute MMA, you look at Dominance MMA, 10th Planet, AET, you name it, all I could go on and on.
Man,
all in.
Yeah, we've got a perfect storm right now in the scene, man. It's like everything has come together into alignment, and off we go. And as you're saying, I feel like the lines have blurred so much between semi-pro and pro, because I actually think that the semi-pro people of today would kick the asses of the pros from, say, 5-10 years ago. You know what I mean? Their level is so high. Their fitness is so high. Everything is so high. So now off we go. And these people are just being like groomed, for want of a better word, for whatever's next. This is a launch pad for, I mean, look at Kevin Gisay. Look at him. Enters the UFC.
He came up from Path to HEX fight series, first fight in UFC, and chokes the guy out under 60 seconds. I mean, get real. Real. You know, and coming from Eugene Behrman's camp, City Kickboxing, I mean, he came through as an amateur into the pros. See what's going on? See what they're producing? It's insane. It's insane. So, you got Fusion, you got Path to HEX, you got Sarman Challenge, another pro show, different, not in a cage, on a platform, on a big stage. Incredible how they're using jiu-jitsu with their Turkish flavor. I love that. It's just really, it's really nice. It's like a step into a new dimension, when you go to a Sarman Challenge, and they've had 4 challenges as well. And I've been involved with 2 of those. So, 2 out of 4. And then, of course, HEX Fight Series. I mean, it's just insane. It really is just insane right now. And to be part of it all, just to wrap up your question, it's just the dream come true for me. I never, ever, ever, ever got into this 13 years ago going, I want to be a commentator. Oh, yeah, I want to be. No, mate. No. I'm just a fan that I would have the same conversations with my best mate, Danny. We'd get on the couch and watch another fight, and I'd see they go, look, you see that? He goes, what? I go, look. See, he's staying on the outside of that right foot because he's southpaw. He goes, what does that mean? Well, see, your southpaw, your chin is in line with his left hand, so you've got to get on the outside, but his chin's in line with the right hand, so it's a battle of who can win that space outside that front foot and then start to create these dilemmas and find the knockout or find the entry to the shot to the ground and whatnot. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? I go, well... how it works, and we would have these conversations, and he's like, man, that's crazy. And then I'd say, look at his hands. Look, he's setting him up with that low kick. He's going to come over the top either with an overhand right or with a head kick, and then he gets head kicked. Right? Like, what the hell? Like,
you're educating the audience. I love it, man.
Yeah. So I found that I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And then I think the first time I commentated was at Robbie Night. I mean, this is at a bikie compound in Palmerstown.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, Robbie Night Tribal Punishment was the name of the promotion. And one of my boys, head instructor of 10 Planets South Melbourne, Joshua Peckerstein, he was fighting pro. His pro debut. Right. At that show, and I said to Paris from Paris Productions, who does Fusion, he did HEX Forever, Apart the HEX, he does all the big shows, all the productions for Foxtel and for Channel 31. And he goes, hey Frankie, do you wanna commentate? I go, well, I got a guy fighting. I got to have the fight before the fight after off so I can warm him up and celebrate and all that stuff afterwards. I go, but if you don't mind, and I said, I don't want any money, because if I suck, then you don't have to pay him. You don't have to worry. No one, nothing lost, right? Just, give me 2 dim sims and a Coke and I'll be happy,
Yeah.
So he puts me on. He puts me on the cans, and I think I predict out of 12 fights, I think I predicted like 8 or 9 finishes, right? Just before it happened. And Paris was looking at me and he goes, I go, I don't know. I don't know. It's a fluke. What are you going to say? I don't know. I just was able to, my martial arts experience, because, the towel, as you know, in striking, the towel is all about you being able to pick the telegraphic messages that he's giving me through movement, through little winces, how he drops his hand before he throws the kick, or the chin, the shoulder. I just studied that from 30 years of striking, and I just remember it because, I did it so much. And I had to do it myself, and I had to learn being a small, light fighter. I can't keep taking 2 shots on the way in and to the head, although I've taken a lot of shots to the head over the years. I've got to tell you, my head still hurts. But I had to learn all of that, bobbing and weaving and feinting and throwing fakes and all those things are all about, setting all these things up. So I just kind of I just thought everybody knows this stuff. Like, what's the big deal? But when I realized that, I kind of had a way of, I just had a way of putting words together. And I don't know. I wasn't trying to be like the next guy, or like Joe, or I mean, he's amazing. Joe Rogan. I mean, who doesn't? The guy's just amazing. And there's so many. And Mike Chiavello. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I'm calling fights for Hex with Michael Chiavello now. Michael Chiavello is probably one of the most, other than Joe, the most famous voice in combat sports. You know, it's just insane. He's K1, Dream. Remember Dream? Pride. Remember Pride?
No,
right. Yeah. These are hallmarks. These are like make statues about these kind of things that launched combat sports to the apex of popularity back in the day. So I was able to just put these words together, being able to be a little educational through my business and how I work with teaching martial artists every single day at super high levels. And just being around high level people, you know how it is, Kim, Anton. You know, you become your environment. You know, I'm just surrounded. Man, Joe Rogan's a classmate of mine for years at Eddie's. Eddie Bravo, listening to him talking, and all the black belts over the years. I mean, I was just in that group. That was my circle for a long time. Every time I went over to so I'm just like, I just have to raise my level as a human, regardless of what the possibilities were going to be in the future for me. You know, you know, so
like, yeah, there's no doubt that like being at one of those shows is amazing. It's fantastic, and I don't know if it's just me. Is there any way that sometimes when I don't go and I buy a stream, sometimes the stream, it's just not the best? You know, there's been some issues. Who do we talk to get these streams fixed up? Because sorry to say, people are paying good money, sometimes $30, $40. They can't access the stream.
Such a good point. That's an area we're behind the UFC, for example. You know what I mean? That's an area we can improve. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Kim, a lot of what I do gets lost, because if you can't get on that stream, I mean, you just missed out on all of that, you know. And it really breaks my heart that that's the case. You know, it breaks my heart that that's the case, that people are struggling with modern technology these days. And modern innovation, that we have these streaming issues. And these streaming companies, they take money, man. Like these streaming companies, they take a good amount of money with these.
They do.
And the reliability of the stream is not the promoter's fault. Like they are doing everything to get everything in order, to set up everything. They put the money forward. Are you kidding me? Like you think these things are, oh, no worries, let's just do a stream and a show. And I'm good. I'll sort you out after. No, Tuesday I'll pay. No, these guys are laying down a lot of money in advance, really taking chances. And the fact that these streams have got hiccups is just not acceptable, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I think it's a great point you raised, Kim. And like, actually, like when I'm watching a live stream of this up and coming, emerging, amazing scene that we have, but because I watch every UFC as well, that is my comparison, right? I've got you mimicking to some degree, like we mimic the format. Like I love how we've got you and we had Daniel Schuart, you know, up there in front doing the pre-recorded bits at the start, and we have the guest people coming in and sitting with you guys. Like we're mimicking perfectly what the big boys are doing. And yet when it comes to the broadcast of that, you're right. So much of it's getting lost. So much of that hard work is getting lost. And we must stand for a better stream moving forwards, because we're like, this is probably what separates us from the semi-professional to the professional. Like if there is a break in that, it's not in the skill level, it's in the broadcast quality, man. So yeah, let's do this.
Look, man, we're doing all we can as far as from my perspective, and with my co-hosts or my co-commentators that are jumping in. And I mean, you know, like Nick Patterson does such an awesome job on Path to Hex. I mean, you know, ex-veteran coming on board, doing comms with us. So we've got that professional, you know, ex-fighter perspective. So when I'm because when I do Path to Hex with Nick, and I got Nicholas Mara is there as the straight guy. He's the setup guy, the play-by-play guy. I'm the color guy, and then Nick's there, and because look, I know what's going on. Okay, like really, I could just watch the thing with not even talking. I know exactly. But as far as what my role is, that I love to use that professional. Like Jimmy Crute was doing Path to Hex with me for quite a while. And Jimmy's pretty busy these days and doing stuff and fighting and trying to be a professional and do all that stuff. I mean, God, I can't imagine what that's like, training 3 times a day. So he hasn't been around that much of late. So Nick's come in and stepped in to fill that little position so well, and that just, you know, adds so much depth into the commentary and the educational perspective of the call. So, man, I'm with you all the way. It is just heartbreaking. Man, you know how many times I've done a show, I'm sweating, I'm putting in 120% effort. I'm going super hard. I'm going outside my comfort zone every single show. I don't care what you see. I don't care what you hear and what you think that's going on. But you got to understand that I work really freaking hard in this. Like I put in, I try really hard. I'm prepared as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I go backstage. I get there 2 hours early before the show. I do my homework. I know everybody. That doesn't just happen, Kim. I put myself in the situations. I make myself available. I make calls outside of the walls of those shows. I'm at the tournaments on the weekends. You know, you see me out there walking the beat, back and forth, shaking hands, having conversations. I'm building relationships all the time. I'm watching other schools' fighters. I've got my own school to worry about, but no, I'm making sure that I'm watching the best guys because I know they're going to wind up in front of me one day. I want to know what's going on. I want to know who I need to talk to. So I'm putting in 120% at least in every single one of these. So I'm doing my bit. I know Nick and the boys are doing their bit. You know, Daniel Shorter, whoever's commentating with me on these shows are doing their bit. You're right. These streams, it's just unacceptable for what's happening. Or, you know, the other alternative, Anton, do what you do, baby. Come to the show and sit right next to me. And then you can hear the commentary.
That's
you can see the show. You can listen to the interviews.
I had the best Frank Barca experience because I was sitting behind you, right? And I'd see, like, you would go out, do the interview, and I could hear you, and you were on the mics and everything in there. And then you'd come back out and I'd get to see your facial expression as you were like, oh, that was awesome. We nailed that one. Or, oh my God, there was a bit, you know, or whatever. Like, I get to see the behind the scenes part by going to the show. Like the shows are small enough. You can get an amazing experience by going there. I really agree, man. But it's something special that's brewing. And I just hope that we can like, and it's actually not it's not a diss. It's like this is a mountain with no top, but we cannot rest. We cannot rest. Yeah. We must improve this situation. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
We only have 10 minutes left. So Kim, I don't know what question could you ask Frank that he could answer?
One more question, probably. Hey, so, I mean, given that you're around these up and comers, throw some names at us, Frank, of people that we should be looking out for in the future that you think are going to be the next big things.
Well, look, to be honest with you, if we just look at what HEX is doing, at the moment and the kind of level, you know, the Sammy Kakembos and the Michael Barbers. I mean, these guys are just, you know, the Cody Haddons, the Sean Gauchis. I mean, these guys, when we put them together, could easily be a UFC fight. Easy. You know, without a doubt, those guys are just rising stars, without a doubt. I mean, you know, welterweight. I mean, look at Jonathan McAuliffe. I mean, seriously, he's up against Joseph Luciano from the Absolute MMA machine. I mean, that guy's the eternal welterweight champ coming across the HEX to take on a 4-0 undefeated Jonathan McAuliffe. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Jonathan McAuliffe, I train with that guy every Thursday, and he's out there just grinding and just smashing every single Thursday. That guy is like chipped out of stone, such a professional attitude and mindset, and a professional team surrounded by absolute champions, AET, Resilience, MMA. I mean, you know, Daniel Kelly out there doing what he does. You know, Jake Matthews in there doing rounds with him. And I mean, what? Like, you know, just there, just insane. You know, you got in the jiu-jitsu scene, you got Duke Didier's like undefeated. You got Josh Saunders, this mountain of a man, 120-something million kilos of just absolute specimen. The guy got his brown belt in like freaking 3 years, 2 years, or some crazy, ridiculous thing. Just, you know, these guys, I mean, you look at the AET boys, you look at Cody Allen, you look at Meso, the Meso brothers just tearing it up in competition. I mean, AET just took out gi, no gi, men, women's, juniors championship. I mean, whatever's in the water over here in the northern suburbs is worth taking a look at for sure. On the jiu-jitsu, just insane. So, I don't know. Is that? I hope I answered the question adequately, but I could go on, but we don't have much time, Kimmy.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm around Muhammad Bekai a lot right now these days, and that kid is he's something special. He walks out in like a death mask and just slaughters everybody who gets in his way. That kid, like, he's got the right attitude. He trains like an adult, you know, like that. But he's just one of quite a few in his circles who are training that hard. You know, it could go any way. It's crazy matches. So
Yeah, I mean, we've got, I mean, even at 10 Planet Melbourne, we've got real killers, you know. I mean, Daniel AR just took out the under 70, I think it's under 74 kilogram purple belt adult division, you know. He's been on a tear for a long time, and he's a purple belt, but, you know, he's well and truly on the way to the next level. But, you know, it's just incredible training a guy like that and producing a guy like that from day one. And, you know, he's been training a lot with AET as well. We all do. You know, that's our brother sister school. You know, like, we're so lucky with 10 Planet Melbourne because I have so many friends deep in the community that we can just cross train amongst our schools at the highest level and mix it with other top guys in those other schools, and get together and train in a healthy environment where we're all helping each other. You know, and sometimes we end up competing against each other, and that's okay. Like, who cares? Like, let's go, because we're contributing to the community, man. This whole jiu-jitsu MMA community in Victoria and right across Australia now, but especially Victoria, I have to tell you, Anton and Kim, I am so proud to have decided to pursue jiu-jitsu in this state. And I knew I was in for a real ball terror, you know, because everyone's such a high level, you know, dominance, absolute, goes on AET. And thank God they embraced me, and where they could have easily just, you know, given. And of course, everyone has their share of negativity in their lives, but it bounces off me like I'm a fucking superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even.
Hey, I would like to bring this home strong, right? Because I think that one of the things is, like, we talk about semi-professional to professional, right? And one of the things that really stands out to me is the more people, like, what will cause these people to go to the next level is more support, right? More support, buying tickets, buying more live streams. When it's entertainment, we can do more of these things. We can give more people the spotlight. But, like, do you want to expand on these sorts of thoughts? Because I really want to finish. This has been an amazing episode where you've really shone the light on what's going on in this amazing fucking scene that we have in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But, like,
we've got 4 minutes, Frank, so you'll have to shorten.
Yeah, no worries.
Look, you got 4 minutes 34, brother.
No worries. I'll keep this short. What I want to see is I want to continue to build and harness the most amazing relationships amongst our top black belt coaches, our top martial arts coaches that are putting not only their families and their money where their mouth is, but really for the fighters. And I think I want to see it continue to grow professionally as it is, and I want coaches to expand their horizons and to eliminate any ceilings that they may put on themselves because of the arduous day-to-day grind. And it's very like that. I mean, talk to Simon Carson. The guy's got 1 billion kids, 800 dogs. I mean, he's got five schools, whatever. You're hiring 30, 40, 50 people. What's wrong? Sorry, bro.
So true.
You know,
all those numbers are correct.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, and I want to encourage each and every one of them that I work with all of you out there. I work with all of you guys, and I see all the work you do, and I see the love in your fighters' eyes. I see the passion and the determination they have. Everyone is doing what they need to do. I hate to say it, but it's going to be like this. We need to just keep doing what we're doing. Look what HEX is doing. HEX has gone in massive 4,000 seat arena, November 18, HEX 28. Next year, we're doing 5 shows, 1 overseas. We're going global. I'm not going to expand on it. But that's what's going on next year. So that's 5 HEX next year alone. And I know Fusion's doing big things. We know they do minimum of 4. And I know part of the HEX is doing minimum of 4. So right there's like 14, 15 incredible moments and shows. Sarman's going to do 2 to 3 next year. It's on and on. The tournament scene is blasting. We're heading like a comet. Haley's comet, man. It's unbelievable. Jiu-jitsu right now in MMA. It's at fever pitch. Martial arts in Australia, on top of the world, no longer behind the American scene, leading from the front. Unbelievable to be part of it. Thanks for having me. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure and a privilege. Keep it 10 plan all the way. Check out my socials. Check out my live feeds. Check it out. Go do jiu-jitsu. No gi all the way. If you want sub only and OTs, come and check us out, 10planetmelbourne.com.au. Fill in the box provided with your email, and I will personally get back to you and begin this jiu-jitsu journey with you. Let's go.
Woo! Hell yeah. Wow. From 2 dim sims and a Coke to this amazing machine. Kim, close the show.
Awesome. And you've still come in under time, Frank. Very, very professional. Ultimate professional. Thank you so much for giving up your time for the 3rd time on this show. Anyone that wants to have a listen, go check out our previous episodes with Frank. think it was about 2 years ago and about 3 years ago. So we've improved heaps, and we will have this podcast out for you in a couple of weeks. Look forward to seeing you on the mat or behind the microphone.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Everybody.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. Good luck out there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Peace out.